Reality is much more grim. In 2018, she was found guilty of assault and gun charges. She had waved an unloaded gun she owned legally at a felon she said was threatening her family. Ra was sent to prison, 7 months pregnant, and went through labor in her cell while shackled to a bed. She says she was left alone, wailing in pain while guards passed the time on their cell phones. Her conviction was overturned in appeal after 9 months in prison, but she says she's still waiting for justice.
And that is because after winning the appeal, prosecutors now announced they plan to retry her case. She joins me now along with her lawyer, Wade Fink. And Siwatu, thank you for being with me. I mean, I know that this has been an incredibly difficult time. You're there in prison for defending your family, which, as your lawyer pointed out, would be a probation offense at best in most cases. What is it like to go through the possibility of another trial and being separated from your family again, possibly?
It's like reliving the trauma over and over again. It's like holding your breath and not being able to breathe, to keep going and keep moving and keep surviving. But I am still hopeful because I come from a loving community and I have an amazing attorney who has brought me through this very traumatic and horrifying experience of injustices. But we're hopeful. We're still hopeful that they will do the right thing.
And to you, Wade, we were confused as to why the prosecution was going about this route, because basically the conviction was found to not hold. So the appeals court vacated the conviction. So we reached out to the prosecutor's office. They issued this statement saying basically that makes it so that they have to retrial it because of the decision by the appeals court. So is that true? I mean, can't they just say, hey, this is really not something we should be pursuing in the first place?
Yeah, thank you, Lynn, for putting sunlight on this case. And you're absolutely right. It's not true to say that they are mandated to retry the case. In fact, that statement that this was just about a jury instruction error is also misleading, because the Court of Appeals was very clear that it's very probable the case would have turned out differently had Siwatu got a fair trial the first time around. And when I came in this case, we had to look a lot at what happened in the first trial, and it just wasn't fair, Lynn. And regardless of how you feel about the facts of this case, this woman has been through a nightmare that she should have never gone through, and enough is enough. Now, I will say, the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office, Kim Worthy, to her credit, has done a lot of good work. She opened an integrity unit to look into wrongful convictions. She's been a pioneer to test rape kits that have been backlogged in Wayne County. So she runs a very good office, and that's why I'm going to remain hopeful that when she looks at our final pitch of why this case should be not prosecuted, I'm going to remain hopeful that the prosecutor's office does the right thing.
Before we get to what actually led you there, you gave birth, Siwatu, in prison. You had your baby taken away from you 48 hours after giving birth for a conviction that eventually was vacated. So just describe for me what it was like to be there and to go through that.
So I gave birth at a hospital, but still under the control of the state and under incarceration. No woman deserves to give birth in the conditions that I did, and that the conditions that women continue to give birth in while under the control of the state right here in Michigan. And that's why we're very, very proud of the new work that we've gotten passed to not have a woman give birth alone, and now that they have to have a loved one available with them to give birth.
Yeah, that's actually because of some of the work you've done, I understand. You actually have been an activist for a while.
Yes, as long as I can remember.
And Lynn, she does that. I mean, she does this work on behalf of other people while she had a GPS tether strapped to her ankle, walking the halls of the Michigan legislature, working on behalf of other women. And that's why I'm so proud to sit next to this client. She's an amazing human being.
And Wade, all this comes down to, let's just put up on the screen, what's not disputed in this case is that your client waved an unloaded, lawfully owned gun at a felon who had hit her car in self-defense. She says she's protecting her family. Prosecutors are arguing she did this in anger, and that's why she saw prison time?
That's essentially the theory, Lynn, and I wish I tried the first case, and I would have approached things a little differently, but nevertheless, the theory of the prosecutor just doesn't make sense in this case, and the fact that the prosecutors resisted cross-examination of the alleged victim, that she was currently serving a probation sentence for shoving a shotgun in someone's face. That's the kind of violent past that this alleged victim had, whereas Siwatu had no criminal history. The fact that they resisted cross-examination on that topic shows you a lot about what the prosecutor's office procedure was here. It was just to try to get a conviction, not really about justice the first time around. So I'm hopeful with a second look that it gets a different result.
Siwatu, just final thoughts. Why do you think that this all went the way it did? It's when you look at the facts here. I mean, Michigan's a stand your ground state in the first place. Why do you think it went down this road?
Yeah, so like many cases, I'm just one person out of thousands of others who have not been given the benefit or the benefit of the doubt to be fearful. They painted me as an angry black woman, which we all know that is a narrative that is being pushed in many different forms about black women. So I did not have the benefit of being fearful. I could only be angry. And so the fact that I was a legal gun owner who was protecting her family meant nothing. It did not stand in the court. And I have been vigilant about my innocence and my right to self-defense, just like the rest of other people who have the right to protect themselves but may look different than me. So just like many people who do not have the right to protect themselves and find themselves tangled in the prison industrial complex. And so I believe that's what happened to me. So it is very important that justice has to show itself right now.
That's why we wanted to cover this story. Someone with no criminal record whatsoever and out there in her community trying to do good things. Siwatu Ra, thank you for being with me. Wade Fink, stay with us and keep us updated on this case so we can continue to follow it.
We will. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you.